After a huge start in Vancouver, Canada, we have traveled more than 9,000 miles to Perth, Western Australia for a double dose of the World Supercross Championship.
The Supercross party continues with some of the world's best riders heading down under. Eli Tomac made a statement start in Canada and comes in as the man to beat.
Tomac trying to get around the outside, and they're going to go side by side.
If two-time champ Ken Roczen from Germany dreams of a World Supercross three-peat, he must deliver in Perth.
Here comes Roczen, and there goes the crowd to their feet here inside of BC Places.
Joey Savacci is Mr. Consistent and will be a constant threat. In SX2, McElrath and Anstey lead the way.
As he takes the checkers here to win race number 3.
But with 6 GPs and 2 super finals ahead, it's survival of the fittest. Welcome to Western Australia and the coastal city of Perth for 2 huge nights of racing. It's a double-header of the best two-wheel dirt action. This is the World Supercross Championship. You don't want to miss a moment.
Welcome to Western Australia's capital city, Perth, also known as Australia's sunniest capital city. The lights will be shining bright tonight on the superstar athletes of the FIM World Supercross Championship at the famed HBF Park. The fans are filling up this 100-plus-year-old venue as we get ready for round number 2. Here they come into the stadium looking to cheer on their favorite rider as they battle it out here at HBF Park. Should be a spectacular night of racing for the FIM World Supercross Championship. Hi everybody, Ralph Shaheen alongside of former World Supercross champion Jeff Emick. It is going to be an exciting weekend of racing here, a doubleheader. Jeff, what do you expect?
Well, the interesting thing and what I'm looking forward to is to see who can get started quickly on this course here. We've got this really interesting sand base for the track, but remember this is a short championship this year with only 4 races. We have 2 races here this weekend, so half of the points are going to be delivered here in Perth, and this is how we get there.
Jeff, you have to work your way through the program. There's points available throughout, not just in the GP races, but also in the new to 2024 Super Final.
Yeah. Super Final, we're going to mix the 250s from MX2 and the WSX 450s together for the final race of the night and award points for that also. But we started out with Super Pole.
Super Pole was thrilling with Shane McElrath taking it in SX2, picking up 5 bonus points there. And in the WSX category, it was the
Joey
Savacci taking it and the 5 bonus points. So here's a look at the championship standings as we get ready for SX2 to make their way out onto the racetrack. You can see McElrath leading the points, and down trackside is the 3rd member of our broadcast crew. Here's Kristen Beat.
Thanks so much, Ralph. The track surface and composition here in Perth is extremely unique. It's a super sandy composition, and because of that, 12 out of 32 riders here tonight have elected to run a scoop tire. Now, the angled tread on a scoop tire is going to give riders better grip off the start, also in the hard pack sections. However, the traditional knobby is going to give them better traction in the hard packed section. And for that reason, guys, this is going to be a major game-changing adjustment throughout the night for all of the riders, and they're going to have to be so conscious of balance throughout the duration of the circuit. Buckle up, it is going to be a wild ride.
That it is here tonight, Kristen. As the sun is setting to the west, we get racing ready to go here. And Jeff, the track map, not just challenging because of the sand, but because of the obstacles.
Well, it certainly is. Supercross, everyone's different, right? It's like a snowflake. Every track is different. It changes each lap. Great track here. Like Kristen mentioned with this sand, the teams were really challenged to say, are we going to run a conventional knobby tire or a scoop tire? And it's kind of 50-50, to be honest with you. We have a great track here in Perth, though, and this is where dream events happen.
You can see the layout across the floor here at HBF Park, and the fans have made their way into the grandstands, ready to go. Got their t-shirts, got their programs ready to watch. They got their autographs too early on as the riders are in the gate, and we're getting ready for the first race of the night. Jeff, there will be 3 Grand Prix races in each of our categories.
So we're going to have 2 8-lap races. The final third race will be 12 laps. But what we're going to do is we're going to stagger between the 2 different classes. We're going to have the first MX2, then we'll run the first WSX. So we'll stagger them all through the night. Then, of course, at the end of the night, we do that super final where we put the top 8 from the MX2, top 8 from the WSX together after they get their scores from the 3-race Grand Prix, and we mix them together for another 12-lap race. And what is one of the most difficult parts of WSX as a rider is that, conventional Supercross, you can have one main event. Well, all of these are essentially our main events. They're all paying points. So there's 4 starts. The starts are so critical. There's so much it can make or break you off of the start, and the riders have to execute 4 of them if they want to be the winner of the Australian Grand Prix.
Riders are in the gate, ready to go. Set for the first gate drop of the night here in Perth. Oh, jumping a little too early in the middle. He's going to get hung up. It's going to shut everything down. It was the 86 machine of Reed Taylor on the Kawasaki. Jeff, just a little bit too quick. He's one of the wild card riders from here in Australia, doing just the 1 round.
Yeah, that was odd. I'm not sure. And they didn't drop the gate, so I don't know if he had a malfunction or the gate twitched and he went. This is frustrating as a rider. Look, you see on your far right there, Cole Thompson taking his goggles off.
He's making his World Supercross debut here tonight out of New South Wales, Australia, so I'm sure the nerves were pretty high for him.
Well, yeah, but it's really odd. I don't know whether they're testing the gate, if there was some sort of malfunction, but it's frustrating as a rider because you are so focused and so, like, you have this funnel of your concentration and focus, and as you get to the gate drop, you start to literally just get rid of anything else in your mind except that gate drop, and then it doesn't drop. So now you have to re-rack it. So you have to get back in that mode again. You see Thompson on the right, Enzo Lopes. I think those 2 riders are the ones that are really going to challenge Shane McElrath here for this win here tonight, with McElrath points leader and being the favorite.
Well, you saw the 30-second board up. That means when the 30-second board comes down and leaves the track, we're ready to go.
Yeah, look on the left, on the yellow Suzuki, the number 11, Chisholm was trying to restart his bike.
Here we go. Get set. We're underway. Clean gate drop. Racing to the first corner, known as Chaos Corner.
Oh,
for this very reason right here. Everybody sliding into each other, and it's McElrath.
No, Thompson.
No, it's Thompson. You're right. Thompson, Cole Thompson, his teammate, coming out with the lead, and McElrath right there on the 12, giving chase back in about 4th position. The rider who won Super Pole. Thompson on the Firepower Honda, all in red.
Which is an Australian team. So definitely a favor here. There's his teammate McElrath setting back in 4th over the finish line jump.
And just in front of McElrath is Cody Schock on that Rick Ware Racing entry, number 66, or 69, and then this 66. Minear just in front of him.
Yeah, Minear, the wild card here out of Australia. Great start for him.
An outstanding beginning for Caden Minear, who was a fan favorite at the autograph session earlier today. The young Australian rider. Fantastic personality. Jeff, he's been one of the social media darlings of our race here in Perth, doing quite a bit of social media as he's welcomed in other riders from around the world to his home country. Looking forward to competing here tonight.
Track starting to break in just a little bit now that we got some bikes on it, some racing. McElrath is one of the riders in the 250 class that has had the ability to work his way through the pack. Looks like he might have the move.
McElrath, good.
Got it.
He's through, but look at Mynheer cutting right back to the inside. Caden was right there. Thought he was going to fight back. The 17-year-old from right here in the capital city of Perth. And there's Cody Schock closing in on Thompson. And Thompson, Jeff, has never won a World Supercross Grand Prix.
Well, he's in a good place right now, but he's got Schock breathing down his neck. And you don't have to go too far back to find McElrath. And now Lopes has moved up to 4th. Lopes is Cody Schock's teammate on those Arby's bikes with Rick Ware, and they are dialed in, as is the Firepower Honda of Thompson and McElrath. It's 4 teammates there, or 2 teammates, 2 different teams getting after it here.
And Cody Schock, Jeff, had a great run in Vancouver. Came up a little short. He's making a run at the lead right here. Schock to the inside of Thompson. They're almost bar to bar through that rhythm lane.
Schock looked like he might have been able to exit that turn and try to get next to Thompson, but Thompson carried some good speed there. The bikes are really sliding around a lot, and it'd be interesting to know if here for the Grand Prix races, oh, little mistake.
Oh, Schock with a great burst of speed to the outside, up onto the berm, cuts back to the inside. Schock is right there pushing Thompson. Thompson fighting him off, and the 27-year-old out of Dover, Delaware, just can't get it done on Thompson yet.
Thompson looks to his right to make sure Schock isn't there. What I was going to say, to see if these riders are using a traditional knobby rear tire or they're using that scoop tire that is so has such great performance when it gets deep and sandy.
Here comes Schock to the inside. He's by. Schock takes the lead away from Thompson, and closing in to make this a great 3-rider battle, Kristen, is Shane McElrath.
To answer your question, Jeff, Cole Thompson is on a scoop tire. Cody Schock is not.
Wow, that's interesting.
McElrath is around Thompson.
So that was one of the things, Ralph, that the riders and the teams are really discussing is what's going to happen with the course later on when the moisture starts to come up out of the sand, because the scoop tire that we're talking about, like a paddle tire, okay, like a hybrid paddle tire, it's not good when you get the bike leaned over. It's great straight line drive if it's sandy, but it's a little more hard packing spots. That's where your traditional knobby tire is going to perform a little bit better. Plus, when you get the bike laid over, the knobby is better.
Also closing in this group is Enzo Lopes, who now gets around Thompson. So Thompson, who led the early stages of this one, finds himself slipping all the way back to 4th, and the young Brazilian now moves up to 3rd.
Yeah, I mean, we're on lap 5 of 8. In the beginning of this race, you felt like Thompson, who was great all day, I mean, great start, should be able to win this, but they just Schock, McElrath, and Lopes just raised the intensity, and it seemed like Thompson was caught off guard a little bit at the pace they were laying down.
McElrath is closing on Schock. Quick look down. He's right there in the hunt now, within a second of Schock. Working with about 3 laps to go in this one. Scheduled for 8.
Schock's got to race forward right now. He knows that McElrath is there. No doubt he feels the pressure. Now, when you hit a jump like this, you got to take a deep breath, clear your lens. McElrath looks like he's out of tear-offs, and this orange sand just sticks to everything, including your goggles.
Did you see the rear end of the bike on Schock just dancing around through the whoops, Jeff, whereas McElrath went straight through that bike right in the line?
Well, and that may be where McElrath can make his move next lap around, but look at the McElrath triple singles, and then this turn is closed up on Schock.
Here comes Lopes as well. Enzo's right there. Going to be a 3-rider battle to the finish here. Just the first race of the night, and we've got 2 laps to go as we come past the mechanics area. Oh, look at Schock come right across the front of McElrath. McElrath tucks in behind him, up over the big triple jump. Here we go. Where is McElrath going to be able to make the move jump? Maybe through that whoops where his bike was better.
McElrath needs to be patient. He's quicker through the whoops. Like he's closing right up on the back of Schock. He needs to execute this right-hand turn perfectly and see if he can get the drive and skip those whoops.
Schock with a good drive. Into the whoops they go.
Oh,
the bike still dances around, but McElrath cannot take advantage of it.
Hey, Schock he may be a little loose through the whoops, but he is fast. You know that he just held that throttle wide open that time around. Oh, now he goes triple single. That's a good line.
You got to pin it to win it, Jeff. And here comes McElrath. Good run through this rhythm lane. trying to make it to the inside, get first to the corner. Jump is in, and he just can't pull it away. 1 to go. McElrath high up into the berm.
Shock needs to guard the inside. Oh, there's a berm out there that they're trying to bank off of.
Shock showing the way. He's got about a 0.2 of a second lead over McElrath.
And Lopes is right there too. Either one of these riders makes a mistake, and Lopes is going to be able to capitalize on it.
And Cody Shock, first over the finish line jump, takes the win with McElrath right behind him. Lopes is third, Thompson fourth.
So some great sportsmanship there between Shock and McElrath, high-fiving each other. I mean, they're going to be stoked. That was a great race.
Cody's first win with the World Supercross Championship. Taking a look at the results out of SX2 GP race number 1. WSX bikes will be up next, and then we'll see the SX2 bikes again shortly after that. That's a huge boost for Rick Ware Racing too, team that won the championship in 2022 in this category. More racing coming away from Perth. Let's go down trackside. Here's Kristen.
Cody, your first WSX GP race win. Throughout that race, the rear tire kind of dancing around. How'd you keep control of the bike?
Yeah, he's got squeeze and pray for the best. But no, it was a really good race. I knew Shane was on my rear, and yeah, we're all going fast. And right now, separation is just being consistent and hitting the whoops as good as you can. So, but just gotta give it up to the whole Rick Ware Racing, and I mean Arby's delivering to me, and yeah, Club Next for allowing me to do this. So really grateful right now.
Cody, with exception to GP race number 3 in Canada, you look to be on fire. What is it about this season, about racing for Rick Ware, that's really lighting the fire for you?
It's trying to take a lot of the negatives in my life and turn them into positives. I've dealt with injury in my career, and it's forced me to be off outdoors for about 3 years, so I was strictly on Supercross this entire time. And I think that's what I needed, honestly. Just time on Supercross, just to get everything dialed. So, yeah, I mean, take those negatives, turn them into positives, and we've had a really killer year, and just really excited for more.
Cody, looking towards GP race number 2, GP race 3, and the super final, how are you managing your body and rest in between these GP races?
Just trying to, drink the electrolytes, get salt in the body, water in the body, just stay on top of it, try to eat, what my body allows, keep it light, and yeah, at the end of the day, just keep it fun. That's why we do it.
Cody, well done, and guys, I'm sure his fiancee Emily, who's here in Perth with him, is just as excited. He can go back and celebrate for a moment.
Well, that was an outstanding ride. Let's take a look at the highlights to show you how Cody got it done. Gate drop, second time works perfectly, and then things got crazy down here in Chaos Corner.
Yeah, that first turn, you saw the number 2 Firepower Honda rider, Cole Thompson, get out front. Grab that hole shot. Some other riders weren't so lucky early. That looked like Ryder Kingsford, maybe, the Australian rider down.
Here comes Shock right around Thompson, put him out into the lead, and he was challenged, but he fought them all off. And then Enzo Lopes showed a lot of speed too, Jeff, as Thompson fell from the lead back to 4th. Lopes gets up to 3rd, and Cody lights the candles over the finish line jump, with McElrath right behind him.
Well, I think we're off to a great start, Ralph. I think that McElrath is going to have his hands full. We have an amazing track tonight.
A lot more great racing action coming your way from Perth, Australia. Beautiful night here in Perth, Australia, as the sun is going down. You can see the Swan River off in the distance. The CBD, the Central Business District of Perth, where all the skyscrapers are. Here's Elizabeth Key. Beautiful area along Swan River. Jeff, we had a great time with the riders down there a couple of days ago, doing some social media, letting the fans get to meet the riders.
Yeah, Victoria Bridge right there, Kings Park up on top of the hill. Amazing views of the city. What a dreamy place to be.
Taking a look at the standings now with SX2, Joey Savacci, Eli Tomac. This is the WSX category coming out of Super Pole, which Savacci won, taking the 5 points there. Tomac takes 3, which we talked about as a bit of an upset, Jeff, because I think Tomac was figuring he was going to shoot for max points tonight.
Well, yeah, I mean, Tomac has been the guy to beat. Roxon's been super quick, and Joey's been just a click off. But there's something that the Firepower Honda team has got dialed in. Their riders are dialed in, and their bikes seem to be working excellent on this course. And Joey started out the night with Super Pole winner, and that's the way you want to do it. Keep that momentum going.
No doubt. The lights are on here at HBF Park, as it'll be dark soon. And the riders from the WSX category are locked in, ready to go for the gate. Oh, and again, a bit of a crazy start. Dean Wilson almost got hung up into it as we get into Chaos Corner. Who's going to come out with the lead? First one out. Tomac did not get a good start, Jeff, as we're looking at Luke Clout right up in there in second place. There's Vince Freezy on the 4. He got a fantastic start. Now Tomac shows himself on the 3, but he's stuck back there in 4th position right now, the points leader.
Tomac just overjumped that triple big time. Any Ken Roczen fans here watching tonight, they're going to have seen Ken Roczen was late out of the gate, clipped some other riders, almost went down halfway down the start straight, was last going into the first turn. So Ken Roczen, the 2-time reigning champion, has got his work cut out for him.
Meanwhile, Tomac sitting there stalking the backside of the 19 o'clock. Webster out front with a rocking start, Jeff, on the 96.
Well, and remember, Kyle Webster, the Australian, he's a wild card. He's only racing here this weekend.
Well, he's got a tremendous amount of momentum behind him. He comes from Victoria, and he is out front and leading here in his home country's Grand Prix. Oh! Freezy gets a little wide. Tomac tries to take advantage. Can't get around the 19 of Clout.
Okay, watch the split lane right here.
Clout trying to get around Freezy now.
So Clout went wide, doubled in. On the right, you go single, single. Look, Tomac pulling tear-offs. I think this sand, this really fine orange sand, it really sticks to your lenses, and rider's going to be going through quite a bit of tear-offs.
It seems to me like Tomac is struggling to find his rhythm here.
Yeah, he's all over the place, especially with the whoops. Dean Wilson's closed up. And look at Ken Roczen, Ralph. He was last in the first turn.
There he is on the yellow Suzuki, the #1, the 2-time FIM World Supercross champion, chasing the 2-time AMA Supercross champion, Eli Tomac. And this would be huge for Ken to get back up front here and get some max points in this one. Oh, big coming together here. The 137 of Escoffier. Didn't catch the other rider, did you, Jeff?
No, I didn't, but what I did catch is Ken Roczen is driving forward. I feel like the #3 of Eli Tomac has been sliding all around, like getting boxed out right here by Freezy.
Looks like it was Valentin involved with Escoffier. And let's go down to Kristen.
As you mentioned, the Ken Roczen and Eli Tomac battle between these two rivals. Ken Roczen is not on a scoop tire, and you mentioned him not sliding around. Well, when I spoke with Larry Brooks earlier in the day, the reason they elected not to go with a scoop tire, despite the advantage off the gate, Ken Roczen said that the hard pack is going to have way more traction, so he won't be sliding around as much.
Well, and Roczen just moved around Cloud. He's now up to 4th and closing in on Tomac, but Tomac just got around Freezy, and everybody's still, Jeff, chasing Webster.
Well, I can't confirm what tire Tomac is on, but when I spoke to him earlier, he told me he was committed to the scoop tire all night long, all night long. And I wonder if the choice here by the Pipes Motorsports Group and Ken Roczen to run a traditional knobby isn't going to pay off by the end of this night.
Well, here we are in year 3 of the FIM World Supercross Championship. Years 1 and 2, the series visited Australia but raced in Melbourne's Marvel Stadium. Webster competed in both of those rounds. but really struggled, Jeff, finishing in the 20th positions. And now Roxon right on the backside of Freezy, the Suzuki rider stalking the Honda. And he pulls up alongside going through this rhythm lane, gets to the inside, and Freezy can't hold him off. Tries to cut back to the inside as Freezy and Tomac going after Webster. We've got a new leader. Eli finally gets it together and gets out front.
Yeah, Tomac, he is so aggressive. He's ridden with just an unbelievable flow here all day long at HBF Park. Like a lot of swagger. You know, when you're feeling good and you just like got the confidence and things are moving. Tomac has had swagger all day long. Now he's got a clear track. Let's see what he can do. Turns a 54.7, fastest lap of race one. Roxon's still in traffic, a 55.6. But the way Roxon's been, it won't be long before he's up in the second, setting his sights on Tomac. But we're on lap 5 of 8. He's going to run out of time.
Well, with Roxon, it's very important tonight because he did not get into Super Bowl, so he missed all the points that were available there. He's got to maximize points here in this first Grand Prix. And Tomac, Jeff, undefeated in World Supercross competition.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. He loves this sort of format. I will make a correction. We have 5 laps completed. We are on lap 6. So for those of you watching at home, keeping an eye on our graphics here.
Roxon right there.
See some of these inside lines starting to get dug in. Roxon all over Webster. Now at this point, Roxon's main focus is to get up to second.
Another coming together here. That's the 48 of Oldenburg. Was that Oldenburg and Nichols? Cole Nichols getting together?
I thought it was Freezy, the Ford. Did I have the wrong light?
Yeah, it was Freezy.
Yeah, Freezy.
So Freezy has dropped all the way to 9th now. Oldenburg to 10th. And that continues to fall as Oldenburg goes to 11th. Freezy now all the way to 11th and dropping. For a rider who got a great start, a tremendous early run to this one, and now a frustrating finish as Roxon is around Webster and solidly in second, pulling away quickly.
Looking at this track, Ralph, and the surface with this fine sand, I can tell you, it looks really good. It looks like a fun track to ride. Tomac certainly making it look easy, and it looks like he's having fun out there also.
On the last lap.
Look at that wheel tap. Nice. He has found the flow here. Looked a little bit sketchy those first few laps in traffic, but now with the clear track, he's making it look easy.
Did not look like the Eli Tomac we all know in the early stages of this opening Grand Prix, but boy, he's got it now. And Eli doing Eli things.
Yeah, and of course, Eli Tomac riding the Craig Dack Yamaha backed by Star Racing, which is Eli's team in
Eli
the United
Tomac
States.
On the way to winning the 7th race of his World Supercross career. It'll be every race he's been in. He will have seen the checkered first. Another corner to go. Here he comes. And Eli Tomac lights the candles in Perth as he takes the win in the first race of the night for the WSX category. Rest of the riders across the line, and Roxon is second. Clout and Savachi cross in 3rd and 4th.
Hey, Luke Clout, the Australian rider, up into 3rd. He had to ride up to that position. That was a great ride.
So taking a look at the points, or the results, I should say, Tomac maximizes points. Roxon minimizes the damage.
Yeah, I mean, being last in the first turn and running second, Roxon's got the speed. He needs to get to start here in race 2 if he's going to, give Tomac any sort of pressure.
Let's take a look at the points. With that race now done, Eli Tomac on the CDR Yamaha, supported by Star Racing, 5 up on Savachi. And Roxon, as we said, minimizes the damage as he's now 6 points behind Tomac as they get ready to go racing again later in the night. And we go down trackside to Kristen.
Eli having to work hard for that win out there.
That's right. Actually, I just went way deep on the start there. Came in with way too much speed, got kind of pushed outside, and then they came underneath me there. So had to work hard for those passes, try to find a good flow. This dirt's very technical to ride on. The sand kind of
it's tough to ride, but at the same time, it's a fun challenge. So looking forward to those next two.
In what ways is it tough to ride?
Well, it's just a constant struggle of traction, right? So you're floating both the wheels there and trying to find that good balance.
During Superpool, I noticed the front of the bike kind of lifted up. Is that because the scoop tire and the acceleration that you had? And was that intentional, or were you just having fun again?
Having a little bit of fun, but that's right. We're running that scoop tire today, so it's working good.
Thanks so much, Eli.
And you know, Jeff, the American riders don't get to see as much sand as the European or Australian riders do. Certainly not sand like this. Let's take a look at the highlights. And the start Eli talked about as they head to turn 1.
Yeah, watch Roxon at the back. His front brake gets clipped. Look, he's last. Only Ryan Brees behind him. He gets stopped up. Roxon comes out with only a couple bikes behind him.
And everybody began chasing Webster. Kyle Webster, the wild card, putting on quite a show. The home country fans. And Freezy on the board looked great early on too. Problems here.
Was that Aranda maybe?
That was Valentin and Aranda.
Valentin, yeah, on that GSM Yamaha. That didn't look good at all.
And then here's Tomac fighting his way through. And then first to the finish line once again for Eli Tomac. Incredible style on the CDR Yamaha, supported by Star Racing. Well, you saw the racing on the track. You can see it from high above HBF Park. But let's take a closer look at tonight's racetrack.
All right, guys, Dean Wilson here. We're here at HBF Park in Perth for the World Supercross. So yeah, let's take a lap. Let's go. Woo! Start off with a low wheelie. Left-hander. Obviously, you can see it's very sandy, dry, rough. Low double. There's going to be lots of passes in this corner right here. Turn right, triple. Woo! Option line here. I personally think this inside's faster. Back down to start straight. Hit the finish line. Woohoo! Absolutely massive. Whoops. Wheel tap in. Triple, triple. Kind of difficult, not gonna lie. Turn. Double. Triple on. Off. Double. Turn. Double. Double, double, double. Turn. Double. Double. Triple. Triple. Double. Drop. Back across the start straight. Left. Hang it right. Woohoo! Hit this line. And finish line again. Woo-hoo! Big old jump. And there you have it. Perth World Supercross round 2.
Oh, I love the enthusiasm and the pleasure of riding that comes with Dean Wilson. But the thing I took out of that, Jeff, was how he went through the whoops. He was jumping through. You could really hear him working it. Do you think that's going to be the fast way through tonight? Yeah,
as the sand starts to break down, because when you skim across the whoops, the rear tire is basically just taking big chunks out of that sand. It's going to loosen up. The JetWorks track crew is going to try to fix those up, but surely they'll be jumping through it. But when I listen to it, the interesting thing is that he's off the throttle quite a bit.
Let's go to Kristen.
Here in the paddock at HBF Park, in front of the Firepower Honda team, just a moment ago, they were starting to blow off some of that sticky sand. There's a viscosity to the sand that just really sticking to the bike. Some riders even electing to run a radiator guard. Now, as we move towards CDR Yamaha, just a moment ago, they were changing out the clutch plate. Now, that's going to be really important, managing the clutch when the track is so hot and riders have so many starts throughout the night. After every GP race, they will be changing the clutch. So as you can see here, the CDR Yamaha team doing just that. Now, as we make our way towards this section of the paddock, we've been following this storyline throughout the night. Riders who are electing to run paddle tires or scoop tires and riders who are choosing traditional knobbies. Well, there was a shortage of scoop tires. So the Bud Racing Kawasaki team elected not to run them. There was none available, and at this point they said we're just going to run the knobbies as a preference. However, the MCR Honda team, 2 of the riders electing scoop tires, 2 of them not. It's interesting to see which riders prefer. Now, as we make our way down to the PMG Motorsports Suzuki team, earlier in the day I spent a lot of time talking to Larry Brooks, and what I find interesting about Larry's role as team manager on the Suzuki team is the relationship that he has with his riders, Colt Nichols and Ken Roczen. When I initially walked back here, he was debriefing with Ken, giving him feedback, and the one thing they told Ken to focus on, which I need to focus on as well, breathing, making sure that going into each of these really quick turnaround GP races, you have time to breathe. Speaking of, Justin is saying no, not right now. A little shy? Or, so tell me about the development of this team. You guys have accomplished so much in such a short period of time.
Yeah, you know, there's just a lot of good guys that work their butts off day in and day out, and, you know, that's kind of what it takes, everybody pulling in the same direction, and that's what we do here at the group. Obviously, coming off a second with Ken, we're wanting better. We think he can win any race he's in, so we need to go and get Tomac.
Colt Nichols as well, a great addition to the team. Dustin, we are so excited to see how the WSX program with PMG progresses throughout the season. Thanks so much. And Ralph, back up to you guys. Pretty wild down here.
Oh, yeah, that Pipes Motorsports group, they're going to be one of the tough ones to beat all season long in the FIM World Supercross Championship. Did you know Perth has 19 of the most pristine beaches found anywhere in the world, and all within a stone's throw of the city? Crystal clear water and stunning white sand. Jeff, walking on those beaches like walking on a dream.
Riding into the dunes like that, and I mean, I guess we can see why this track is made of so much sand. There's a lot of sand here in Western Australia.
There's a lot around here as we take a look at the SX2 Championship points as we race through here in Perth. McElrath leading by just 2 over Cody Schock. And then just a couple more back behind that is Enzo Lopes. So this SX2 Championship just still very much alive.
I think the rider to watch going into race 2 is Enzo Lopes. He came through the pack, closed up there on the back of McElrath. I mean, McElrath is obviously the guy to beat. Keep your eye on Lopes.
Lopes and Schock. Of course, the favorite would be McElrath, who's just to the right of the doghouse at the center. Here we go, getting ready for the start. And we're underway, headed to Chaos Corner. McElrath with a good start. Swinging wide.
Schock's got it.
Yeah, Schock on the inside of McElrath, and it's going to be Cody, first one in this next corner on the 69 in the white helmet.
Oh, he tries to, McElrath trying to go back into him.
McElrath pushing hard, but just can't get around him yet. He'll start stalking him now.
For those of the Brazilian fans, Lopes did not get the start he needed, so he's going to have to work his way through the pack. Once again, he has the speed, just has not executed the start. Skimming across the whoops, McElrath, a little bit loose, but that looked fast. Looks like Park maybe in third, and
Colin
the Australian.
Park, and then Ryder Kingsford right behind him.
Oh no, now it's Lopes. He just passed Kingsford, as you were calling him out there, Ralph.
Still everybody chasing Schock at this point.
Well, and you gotta wonder that if you're Cody Schock, like, what sort of mental confidence boost did winning race 1 give you? And
well,
are you going to be able to compete?
What was it like winning your first one?
Yeah, I think that's just a big confidence booster for him. And, you know, it shows like, hey, I can get this done. I can get that win.
Kristen, Cody Schock seems to be having a great night here tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Ralph. I was speaking with his fiancée, Emily, earlier in the day, and she said, I don't know if people realize how inspirational Cody's story is. He's had so many setbacks with injuries throughout his career, and he's finally starting to get some momentum, and we're seeing it here tonight. Also, something adding to his confidence, he is on the same bike that he races during the traditional season, that Club MX Yamaha, but of course, racing for Rick Ware here tonight.
Well, and Lopes is now up to third. If he could just get a good start, Jeff, he could really give Cody Schock and McElrath a run. He's going to spend a lot of energy just catching up to these two.
Yeah, you can see right there on the left, Lopes was about 4.5 seconds behind McElrath when he got into third. So now he's got to make up that gap and then try to make a pass before the checkered flag flies here in a few laps.
Here's Thompson, who is very strong in the first race for the SX2 category. He's running in 5th. He's right behind Park.
Yeah, and then the top Australian, Ryder Kingsford, he's in 6th. He had that great start. Got shuffled back a little bit.
There's Thompson's teammate, McElrath, the two riding on the Firepower Honda squad. And everybody's still chasing Cody Schock. And Cody, one of those riders, as Kristen mentioned, out of the Club MX program back in the United States, where he runs during the race season in the U.S. Track there, so he gets a fair amount of practice on that, so that could be a huge advantage for him here today.
Well, the Club MX training facility is top notch. It's probably the best, if not, one of, but if not the best facility anywhere in the world. They do a great job, and they've been a big part of Cody Schock's development over the years.
Kristen, that Club MX track located in South Carolina.
Another rider who previously trained there, Enzo Lopes, who is now up to 3rd. He, however, has been training in his home of Porto Alegre in Brazil. He told me he has a sand track there, and he said it's critical on these sand tracks because of his experience to not let up on the gas, because as soon as you do, the sand will just suck you up.
Eats you alive, doesn't it, Jeff? Sand becoming quicksand in a hurry.
Well, Lopes has picked up about half a second on McElrath right now. Schock running a 55.3, McElrath right there. Lopes just a little bit off the last time around, but
you see Park on the 43 pushing to catch up to the backside of Thompson here. There's Thompson, and there's Park right behind him.
Oh, Thompson chose a different line there. Single into that turn, running the inside line, the shorter line, and Park around the outside.
Kingsford's trying to hook onto the back of Park to have him drag him up through there. And here we go with 3 to go. Schock out in front on the outside, and here comes McElrath up the inside. Down goes Schock with a big crash, and McElrath is the new leader. Where's Lopes? Can he hurry up and catch him? Yes, Lopes gets around Schock. Oh, you can see the waving cross flag there, the medical flag. Everybody's got to slow down and roll through that rhythm section.
So he goes on these on-off tabletops, and going from table to table does not get the hop he needed. It kicks him a little sideways, but of course in Supercross, if you crash in the middle of a rhythm section, it's like a bunch of walls in front of you. Luckily, Schock he didn't hit the up face of that jump. He kind of rolled through it, over it. His bike looks a little bent up. The front wheel and the handlebars don't look like they're in alignment, but it looks like, as a rider, he's physically fine.
He fell all the way down to 5th. You see the points as we race our round standings here. McElrath extending his lead now. Lopes up into 2nd, Schock slipping into 3rd, right behind him.
Oh, getting a little wild right there through the whoops.
He's got to find his rhythm. He's got Kingsford right on his tail.
Well, and there's the section that he crashed, went through there perfectly that time. And I'm interested to know if his handlebar and front wheel are twisted, because it makes it really tough to ride. You're used to everything being straight, and as you pull back on the handlebars, your arms would be even on both sides. Well, if the front end's twisted, one side's going to be shorter than the other, and if you even them out, then the front wheel's not in alignment.
Right.
So then you have to get used to that instantly. I mean, we've all had to ride with it like that, but that initial lap or two is where things get really tricky.
Well, we are on the final lap now. McElrath seems to have taken a little bit of ease as he looked over to see how far back Lopes was, almost 4.5 seconds back. Of course, Shane looking to set himself up for the super final later on tonight too, Jeff.
Yeah, he looks great. I mean, he certainly is riding with the maturity and a confidence that makes him the rider of the beat. And remember, he won this championship in
22. First year of the series, he did it for Rick Ware. Shane McElrath putting together a good night here in the opener of a doubleheader weekend at HBF Park in Perth, Australia. Shane on his way, rider out of Canton, North Carolina, to the checkered flag here in Perth. Race number 2 goes to Shane McElrath.
Well, he put the pressure on Cody Schock. Schock gave him a little gift there by going down and making that mistake, but you'll take it any way it comes, as long as you take the checkers.
McElrath grabbing his 6th career victory in FIM World Supercross competition.
You can
Here's
see
the results. You see Schock frustrated.
Yeah, his body language told it all, right?
Yeah, he ends up in 5th behind Colin Park, Cole Thompson, Enzo Lopes, and our winner, Shane McElrath. Here's a look at the points. McElrath, as we said, up on Lopes, with Schock and Thompson tied there in 3rd, just 2 points behind Lopes. So we've got a good fight going on here, Jeff, in this SX2 category. And we go down trackside now to Kristen.
Shane, a minor mistake from Cody Schock put you in the lead. How important will managing mistakes be tonight?
Really important. Today, it's a marathon for sure. This is a really tough race day, really tough track, but God's given me the strength out there, and this firepower, very sweet Honda team. We got to keep going. This is we've got some good momentum, but like I said, this is a marathon tonight.
Shane, earlier in the week, you had mentioned how great it is to be riding for Debrief. What is special about that relationship?
Oh, it's a blast. We have really the biggest team here in Australia, and it's a blast. Debrief's a great guy. Marty's a great guy, and I'm having a blast. The team is working well together, and let's keep it going.
Do you anticipate any more adjustments before the next GP race?
No, honestly, the track changes so much out there that earlier today, it's just like, hey, let's leave the bike because it's hard to know what to set it up for. So, yeah, we just have to adapt once we get out there.
Focusing on the rider, not so much the bike, guys.
Thank you, Christian Debrief Konski, who owns and runs that Firepower Honda squad. Jeff, a true legend in the industry here, a real power broker in Australian two-wheel racing, especially when it comes to racing in the dirt and motocross and supercross. Highlights now as race 2 got underway.
Yeah, and it was Cody Schock on that Arby's Yamaha for Rick Ware that comes out with the lead. McElrath was right there putting the pressure on, and Lopes working his way through, but this is the story. Schock makes a big mistake. He got lucky that he didn't go down hard, and that hands the lead over to Shane McElrath.
Rolling out of that as we watch McElrath taking the win, lighting the candles over the finish line jump. Rolling out of that crash was huge for Cody. He didn't, as we say, yard dart into the next one.
Yeah, because it's like hitting a wall at just 90 degrees. He was able to just kind of pop over it, roll out of it, and still get a top 5.
Well, the sun has set. You can see the lights are on here at HBF Park. More racing yet to come. Well, Shane McElrath has had a tremendous night so far. He has dominated the action in SX2. Once he's gotten out front, nobody's been able to handle the rider out of North Carolina.
I mean, and look at that bottom line here in SX2 competition. 4 overall wins, 6 race wins, 4 podiums. Just fantastic. And when he rides a 250cc 4-stroke here in the MX2 class, he just rides with such confidence. It just seems to be the bike that fits him.
Sitting on these awesome dirt bikes is not just a rider, but an elite sports performer. Let's find out more. The Supercross rider is the ultimate two-wheeled athlete. In a sport where the risks are high and the consequence of errors large, Supercross athletes must be at the peak of their ability in order to successfully navigate the challenges of the sport. From finely tuned training programs, the most technologically developed motorcycles, and some of the world's largest organizations, Supercross athletes have access to the best of the best in order for them to succeed at the highest level. In a world where concentration is key, the athlete must mitigate distractions to stay laser focused on the job at hand. This entails a strict physical training program to counteract the physical rigors of Supercross, allowing the athlete to remain locked in on the job at hand. Supercross riders are notoriously known as some of the fittest on the planet, which is a requirement to be at the top of the game.
Standing by with legendary team manager Larry Brooks, what kind of debriefing happened after GP Race One between you and Ken Roczen?
The first race, they started the parade lap without Ken. He just didn't have his helmet on. He had to go to the restroom, and that kind of started the whole domino effect. You know, he got up to the line late, and then Wilson jumped the gate, and they bumped into each other. It was just mayhem. So we're hoping for a better start this time and a better finish.
Larry, what would you like to see out of Ken Roczen in this next GP race?
I just want him to ride to his potential. I mean, Ken's got so much talent that he can win this, and it's just a matter of getting off the starting line.
Larry, thank you so much. And guys, Larry Brooks, a legend. He's worked with everyone from Jeremy McGrath to Chad Reed and James Stewart, an absolute amenity to this PMG racing team.
And he's a winner, Kristen. No doubt about it. He is an absolute winner when it comes to moto. Coming back to Perth. Swan River, Australia's sunniest capital of Perth, is home to one of the world's largest inner-city parks, Kings Park and Botanic Garden, as well as the Swan Valley, the only wine region within an Australian capital city. Just 30 minutes from Perth, you can also explore the historic port city of Fremantle, cruise to Rottnest Island, and meet the world's happiest animal, a quokka, or swim with playful wild dolphins in Rockingham. Jeff, visiting Western Australia and Perth specifically can be almost otherworldly.
Oh yeah, and it's such a beautiful city. I mean, we haven't really scratched the surface. We got a chance to go out to the ocean a couple of days ago, but here in Western Australia, I mean, you see all of that, those images from the Tourism Bureau, just how dynamic this West Coast is. I mean, it really makes me want to come back.
Not only dynamic, but how about friendly?
I mean, you'll come back to vacation, you know?
Yes,
right?
But friendly as well. The people have been so welcoming, so excited to have the FIM World Supercross Championship in their city. Everywhere we went, people were excited to see, and they wanted to talk about the racing and what to expect. Couldn't wait to see their favorite rider in action, and they're going to get to see some of the best in the world up next in the second GP race for the WSX category. The 450 riders are lining up in the gate, getting ready to go, and maybe Australia's Matt Moss might be one to deal with here in race number 2.
Moss is going to be quick. Luke Clout was quick in race 1. If you're an Australian fan, I think those are your two best hopes here for a podium and maybe even a win.
Now you see that red line, Jeff. The top 8 riders in points at the end of the night go on to the super final. 8 from the WSX category, 8 from the SX2 category. So you can see that cutoff line there. You got to be above that. All right, here comes the gate drop. On our way to Chaos Corner. Who's going to be there first? Savachi trying to work the inside.
Another bad start for Roczen once again.
Oh, but not for Tomac this time. Eli's out front already on the 3. Boy, the CDR Yamaha, supported by Star Racing, goes right to the front of the pack and is trying to check out.
Looks like Savachi with a 3rd place start.
Yeah,
Moss
there's Roczen with Freezy. Roczen in the yellow on the Suzuki. Oh, and Freezy comes wide on him, so Ken had to lift off the throttle just a hair. Settles in behind him, and now he'll try to find a way by.
Yeah, it was interesting hearing those comments from Larry Brooks, the team manager here for the Pipes Motorsports Group team that Roczen rides for. I mean, a rider, you like to be in sort of a rhythm and a routine before the race starts, and it sounds like tonight his whole routine has been thrown off, so he's got to find that focus once again and set his sights on our leader, Eli Tomac, who's out front, and that's going to be a hard task if you want to win race 2 here.
What I like out of what we're seeing with Tomac here in this first race, or second race of the night, I should say, is he's found his rhythm early on in this one, Jeff. It took him about half of race number 1 to get going. Here, he's gone. And look who's right there. We talked about him just before the gate drop, that 102. The blue Yamaha, Matt Moss, sits in 4th. right behind Savachi, just in front of Freezy.
Yeah, and you know what? Roxon has not been able to get past Freezy, so that was a whole lap. We only have 8 of them. A whole lap without picking off any riders and passing anyone. That's going to make it even tougher for Roxon to make his way up into this top 3. And let's not forget, Joey Savachi, who sits in 3rd, he was your Super Pole winner. He is fast here tonight. If he can make a move on Clout right here, he may have the speed it takes to catch up to Tomac.
Savachi on the outside. Cloud in that white helmet, holding on to the 19. He's been strong.
Cloud took a look over to his left, kind of boxing Savachi out. Now let's see if they do the split right here. Cloud goes to the inside.
Looks like they both did, and then Cloud's going to stay to the inside where Joey went for the momentum around the outside. Now he comes back to the inside.
Track's starting to get a little bit rough now also. Some good, oh, Cloud almost goes over the bars on the finish line jump. I knew it from his body language. He had the bike just pinned in the air. He got bucked a little bit on that massive finish line jump that we have, and he was able to keep it down, but I tell you, that was close. His heart rate would have definitely spiked, so he's got to regroup right now. That could have been huge.
So Savachi got around Clout. Meanwhile, Roxon has gotten around Freezy. Ken is now up to 4th. Freezy runs 5th. Oldenburg got around Moss. He's up to 6th, and now Moss sits in 7th. As you look at the points during this race. Oldenburg now on the bubble. The Mitch is running up in 6th, so see if Mitchell Oldenburg can maybe move a little bit further up off of that bubble. There's Freezy on the 4, holding off Oldenburg. And Moss right behind him. Matt Moss, the 9-time Australian national champion. What a career, Jeff.
Certainly is, and he's gonna, it looks like Aranda, the number 20, the French rider, trying to go around the outside. Well, look at the whoop section, just all over the place right there.
And Aranda trying to, oh no! Down goes Clout! What a frustrating night for Clout. He's been so quick, but always having something taking him out of the podium positions. Let's go down trackside. Here's Kristen.
Yeah, guys, speaking again, oh, that was so hard to watch from Luke Clout, but another Australian rider, Matt Moss, as he passed the mechanics area, his mechanic Troy held out the pit board. It said fight on it, reminding Matt Moss that this is his last season of professional racing. He wants to get on the podium one more time. He told me that's his goal. He is en route to do it in this GP race, guys.
Yeah, unfortunately, he's dropped back to 9th right now, Kristen, but he's fighting hard. If you're a 9-time champion, that's the only thing you know how to do, Jeff.
Yeah, you just get out there and get it done. But Cloud, even after going down, he got up quickly, and Freezy almost got by him, but he didn't. And there was like 4 bikes behind him that, I mean, if he had stayed down another second or 2, he could have lost 4 or 5 more positions.
Here comes Aranda on that 20, looking inside of Freezy.
Oh, almost clips his rear tire. Freezy misses the double. Oh, he's getting into a different rhythm, trying to stay out of the ruts. And Aranda goes around the outside. Great move by the Yamaha rider. He's been super fast here all day.
Aranda up to 6th.
Got the points right here for the Australian GP. Tomac on top with 53, 7 back in Savachi, 2 back Rocks, and Cloud still inside the top 4. The most important line is that 8. Freezy is in with 24, and as we scroll up, who's on the outside looking in? That's going to be Webster and Moss on 24. So we have a 3-way tie for 8th in points at this point.
And Moss sits in 9th, Webster's in 11th. Watching Roxon right here. Boy, you see how good he got to that corner. Boy, he railed that little berm there.
And for those of you at home wanting to know that if there is a tie in points after race 3, the best finish
in the last one,
in the last race, which is race 3, so the best finish there breaks the tiebreaker. Savachi to the inside, boxes him out.
Oh, you can see Ken looking to the left and then to the right, like which way are you going to go on me here? He knew he was coming.
Look at some of those inside lines digging in. And this whoop section, they're not even whoops anymore, like moguls at this point. They're all chewed up.
Quick, as they cross this
So working the final lap now here in race number 2 of the Australian Grand Prix, the FIM World Supercross Championship. Roxon gets around him, but Savachi comes back strong and takes the spot back.
Yeah, that's just allowing Tomac. Of course, this is the last lap. He's 10 seconds out.
You saw Ken almost get thrown off the bike there, Jeff. Kicked that rear end way out. Coming to the checkered flag, Tomac. He's going to win again. Eli, first one to the checkers.
He might not have won Super Bowl, but he's got it together here for these GP races.
And
that's for sure.
Savachi is going to hold off Roxon to take second. And Ken sees another couple of points slip out of his grasp.
Slipping away. Great battle here. How about this? How about Luke Clout?
What an effort.
Man, I'm telling you, top Australian here at his home race.
Taking a look at the points for the results first. Tomac, Savachi, Roxon, Clouden, Oldenburg. That's your top 5, Jeff.
You got Kyle Webster, who looked good early on. He's just outside the top 10. Matt Moss in there. Some Australian riders.
And Kyle Webster, again, just outside of the top 10.
Another wild card, Nathan Crawford, back there in 14th.
So here's the round points. You can see that cutoff line. Vince Freese sits right there as he's tied now with Webster. One of those two, or maybe even Matt Moss, who's just one marker behind them, will get that final 8th spot in the super final. And with that, we go down. Here's Kristen.
A pretty lonely race win for Eli Tomac. Is that more or less satisfying?
Well, it was good. I mean, I was able to improve on that start there. So the first one I wasn't happy with at all. So came out there, got the whole shot, and just tried to ride my laps.
Eli, are you starting to feel like the Eli before the Achilles and before the injuries of the last 2 years? Are you starting to feel like old Eli again?
I am. You know, I feel like I'm going really, really quick right now. So got to keep that intensity up, and we're getting strong.
It's a marathon of a night, guys.
That it is, Kristen, and he had that devastating Achilles injury, Jeff. Just basically ended another championship run for him. Just a half-hour ferry ride from Fremantle is a class nature reserve of Rottnest Island. Aside from the stunning beaches, Rottnest is home to the world's happiest animal, a quokka. They're just amazing, aren't they?
They are.
You and I both have daughters, and I'm sure they would love us to bring not a t-shirt home. So getting ready now to line them up in the gate again. Here's a look at our starting lineup for SX2 Grand Prix number 3. Cole Thompson, Noah Viney. We haven't talked about Noah much tonight. He had a good run in Canada.
Couple of good races. Yeah. The rider I'm really interested to see get a start is the young Australian rider, Ryder Kingsford, that is. He's on that CDR Yamaha. Back to the starting gate where the riders are starting to get their focus, channel and focus at this point. The 69 of Cody Schock there on the right side of your screen. Can he rebound from that crash and win race 3?
All right, focused on the start gate. Ready to drop the gate. Oh, one rider not coming out of the gate. One of the Kawasaki mounted riders. Chaos corner. And everybody comes through there pretty good, but it's McElrath or Thompson again out front.
He's lined up on the far left gate, far inside, and he has really, well, he's whole shot at race 1 and race 3 now, and the position off the gate has really paid dividends for him.
Struggling.
There's Ryder Kingsford.
21 of Kingsford.
That's who I was asking for, Ralph.
Yeah, he's struggling a little bit through there.
Second across the line. Looks like my crystal ball starting to.
It was McElrath, Jeff. I was right. It was McElrath that got the whole shot and got the early lead. And Reed Taylor doesn't make the launch out of the gate. That's who got pushed away on the Kawasaki. As we watch Schock here on the 69, sitting in second, just behind McElrath with Kingsford on his exhaust pipe.
So where's Thompson then?
Thompson
I need my
down at
glasses.
6th.
Well, we got the 2 and the 12, right?
Yeah. So sometimes they're both obviously in red and on the red bikes. It's a little tricky to call them.
Well, and what's going to be interesting, Ralph, is with McElrath out front, Schock is now in second. How bad does Cody Schock want to try to win this thing?
Look at Desprez on the 141. Maxime getting around the 111 of Fonbea.
The Bud Racing Kawasaki rider, Calvin Fonve, 5th on the track. He's got his hands full. Oh, who comes up the inside? Oh, that's Thompson. And Lopes just squares them both up. On, off, and Lopes passes both riders.
Lopes on that 16.
So that's going to put him up to 5th. Now that we're pretty much, well, we're past the halfway point of racing here tonight, it's been really interesting to see how this loose sand has shaped up as the night went on. Riders talking about that it's really slippery, so hard on the bottom, slippery on top with all that loose sand.
McElrath extending the points right now over Schock and Lopez and Thompson. That's the top 4 as the points run. Chisholm sitting in the 8th. That's Kyle Chisholm sitting there in that 8th position. He's on that bubble.
Park got a little wild there as we go back to Ryder Kingsford. Desprez to the inside, boxes him out.
Kristen, what can you tell us?
Guys, something I'm noticing about the track, the high line in the berm is getting dangerously close to the top of the berm. Jeff, as a rider, what do you have to be conscious of in that scenario?
Well, you want to bank off the top of these berms here where Kingsford and Lopes is, but eventually it just pushes away. Look at Lopes up the inside. Kingsford drops back another position. Yeah, you ride that cushion high, Ralph, and then once it starts to get up there and all that loose dirt starts to get pushed over the top, that's when you got to back it back down.
Yeah, you got to be careful it doesn't break away from you. Coming up the inside, Thompson trying to make the move on Kingsford. Thompson on the 2, Kingsford on the 21. Thompson will feed him to the next corner. Take the position away. That moves Thompson up to 5th, Jeff.
Yeah, and you got to wonder, I'm looking at the lineup here. Reed Taylor, that number 86 in last. What happened to his bike on the starting line? He dropped it. He just put his hands up.
He just went nowhere.
Oh, how frustrating is that? He's been great here today. He's put on some fantastic rides.
Lopes now trying to catch up to the back of Maxime Desprez. Again, Maxime very far to the inside of that finish line jump, Jeff.
Yeah, he's riding
right on the edge of it.
Now watch what Lopes is doing right here. He's going to have to go back out to the outside. Desprez kind of guarding the entry there, but watch this. Lopes gets to the inside, takes the spot.
Desprez on the Team GSM machine. And then Lopes running for Rick Ware. This one past the halfway point, and we get more from Kristen now.
Speaking of Maxime Desprez, he's currently leading the French Supercross Championship points. He was teed up when this series started because they are still in the midst of the French Supercross series. Now, another note on Maxime Desprez, he is so good when it comes to these tight tracks. In Europe, that's all they run. The larger Supercross footprints are foreign for them, but as the season goes on, racing here in Perth and also as we soon go to Dubai, this will be Maxime Desprez's wheelhouse. He is so good on these shorter tracks.
Yeah, Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi, that's the next stop. The season finale will be there in a much different style venue. Will be indoors and a much tighter racetrack, Jeff.
Yeah, just 3 laps to go here. Colin Park there, or 2 to go, excuse me. Colin Park makes his way past Kingsford. Oh, Kingsford gonna try to get it back. Not quite close enough.
Ryder doing everything he can on that 21 to find a way around Park.
Well, then he's got Cade Menier, this number 66, the wild card breathing down his neck also.
Yeah, there's Menier on the 66, just getting to the outside of him there. I think Menier, yep, he did. He got around Kingsford, picks up the position, Here's the fight for third, and Desprey's gonna lose it to Lopes. As we are now on the final lap, and McElrath, Schock, Lopes, Thompson, who's gonna get that final transfer into the Super Bowl? Menier right now sits there in 8th, Kyle Chisholm in 7th, Park and Desprey.
And that pass by Caden Menier is just what he needed, I believe, to put him up. They're tied.
Yeah, he and Kingsford
back. Yep.
That one pass is going to make the difference as to who's going to go to Super Final out of SX2. Past mechanics area, McElrath, what a night of racing so far for him.
He's making it look easy, Ralph.
He sure is. Checkered flag for Shane McElrath. He takes the win in race number 3, his 7th career win in WSX competition, his 2nd of the night here in Perth. Firepower Honda is on fire tonight.
Both those Rick Ware racing bikes with Schock and Lopes end up on the top 3.
There's your results. Top 5, McElrath, Schock, Lopes, Thompson, and Desprey. Firepower Honda, Rick Ware, and Team GSM all in the top 5. Taking a look at the rest of the results down to Reeve Taylor, and here's those standings. You see the cutoff line right there. That's the mark as to who goes to Super Final and who doesn't out of SX2.
Yeah, and how about the 66, Caden Menier, wild card, made the Super Final.
Yeah,
Kingsford and the rest are going home.
It's been spectacular so far for that wild card, and this guy's having a pretty good night too. Shane McElrath with Kristen.
Ralph, as soon as he took off his helmet, he said, "That's what I'm talking about."
Yeah, it's that was a much better start for me. Cody Schock's riding awesome, and I thought I blocked him in the first corner of the first one, and he snuck by, and we had a really good battle the second race. But praise the Lord, this has been tough. I thought we had 12 laps on that one, but yeah, praise the Lord. This firepower, very sweet Honda team, quad lock, man. This team just keeps growing, keeps working hard, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
Shane, best of luck as we now move towards the Super Final.
It has been fantastic bringing the FIM World Supercross Championship to Perth for the first time, and we could not have done it without the tremendous support and backing from our good friends at Yamaha of Australia. Thank you so much for helping bringing World Supercross to Perth. Jeff Enzo Lopes, boy, he is really shining bright here in the SX2 category tonight.
Yeah, he's putting in some great rides. He hasn't quite got the start that he needs. And here in this highlights of race 3, you see the number 12, McElrath, out front with the whole shot. Is going to be hard to beat. I mean, let's face it. But Kingsford had a good start. He was in the middle of it all. Here's as Thompson sneaks by on the inside. And there's Lopes, who we were talking about, working his way up past Desprey.
Maxime, having one of his better rides on the 141, was right in the thick of it for most of that final GP race number 3.
And McElrath looking over as they light the candles. I don't want to steal your line.
It's all right. It's all right. You can borrow it. Of course, Enzo representing his home country of Brazil at the Motocross of Nations. In World Supercross competition, 2 career starts, 1 podium, 4th overall in Canada.
Yeah, and he had some health problems the last couple of years that, you know, could have been career-ending. And he, at one point, he wasn't sure if he would be able to race Supercross again. And now that he's fought his way back, got himself healthy, he's on a fantastic team, showing some great results, and we are glad to have the Brazilian here in World Supercross.
Jeff, let's take a look as we go back through history of riders who have taken checkered flags in FIM World Supercross SX2 Championship competition, and it's dominated by 2 guys, Shane McElrath and Max Anstey, both champions in this series. McElrath winning the title in 2022, Anstey winning the championship in 2023, but Max just a wild card entry in 2024.
Yeah, at our opening round in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, the Canadian GP, Anstey started off the night as the guy to beat. And McElrath started off the night horrible. First race, just did not get the start he needed. And then it all just kind of flipped about halfway through the Canadian GP. Everything just flipped. Anstey just had all kinds of problems, and McElrath ended up on top once again.
Okay, let's put a hold right now on SX2. Start focusing on WSX as we get ready for race number 3. Does Tomac sweep the night?
Well, if I had to put my money down and absolutely pull some Australian dollars out of my pocket, I would put it on Tomac, no doubt. He just seems to have that confidence, but you wonder if Ken Roczen, if him and that Pipes Motorsports group can make a couple tweaks to the bike and Roczen get his head on straight and win race 3.
Journey through more than 150 wine producers and 100 cellar doors in Australia's southwest. Discover the stillness of an ancient cave. Hike a mountain bike along forest trails that hug the stunning coastline. Walk a section of the 135-kilometer-long Cape-to-Cape track, or stroll along the longest timber-piled jetty in the Southern Hemisphere. Winemakers, farmers, surfers, and creatives have congregated here, inspired by nature's beauty. So many incredible destinations on the FIM World Supercross Championship Trail, but boy, Perth right at the top of the list. Here's a look at the starting list for WSX GP race number 3. Matt Moss, that 9-time champion, back in the starting gate, and the standings. Who's going to get that 8th and final transfer to Superpole? Will it be Vince Friese, Kyle Webster, or Matt Moss?
It is really tight. You got to wonder if another wild card there, Kyle Webster, can get in to the super final.
Green, drop the flag, the gate, and we're underway.
Tomac goes way wide, and Clout on the inside. It's going to be Tomac out front.
Tomac rockets back out front. There's Clout and Friese, bar to bar. On the brakes into the corner. Clout beats him there. Oh, and look at Roczen just pirouetting around on that front wheel.
Yeah, he was going to try to take advantage of Luke Clout pushing Friese wide and trying to make the pass, but didn't get it done.
You saw Savacci twisting the bars around, almost losing the front end of his number 17 Honda.
There's going to be a lot of that happening here tonight. Look at the inside line. All the riders just funneling right in there, jumping through the whoops. Oh, Friese gets sideways. Roczen, there he goes around the outside. Is it enough?
Looking at the points as they race. Roczen is into super final at this point, sitting in 4th, tied with Clout.
What a great start by Luke Clout once again.
We've talked about it all night, how the starts can make or break your race, and Clout's been nailing the start every time.
It's like Joey Savacci there behind Friese, trying to make the move. Roczen, if he can get past Clout, he can just drop the hammer and see if he can make a dent in that lead. Oh, not quite enough. Oh, here he goes inside.
Yep, not done yet. He goes off the track. Roczen back on. It's going to cost him a few spots. Savacci got around. There's Moss trying to do the same as well.
Wow, my heart rate was spiking, and I'm in the broadcast booth. Can you imagine how that was?
Watch this.
So they almost come together coming out of the turn, and Roczen slides the bike a little bit. If he had stayed on the throttle, he would have jumped off the side of the finish line jump, and that jump's massive.
Savacci trying to hold off now the hard-charging Roczen. Clout trying to do the same, and Clout's looking down like he's got a problem. Something's not right with Luke Clout's number 19.
Savacci trying to go around the outside of him. He cuts back to the right. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know why he was looking down. Either that or he was just looking back to see where Savacci was.
Clout is working hard to keep Savacci behind him.
He's got
Roxon goes
back
for the
there,
tear
too.
off.
And who, look at this, Matt Moss, the number 6 on that CDR Yamaha. He's in a good position. He needs some points to get into the
There goes
super final.
Savatgy past Cloud now. Finally gets around him.
Oh, and Roxon
Here
goes
comes
by
Roxon. Roxon tries to do the same, gets better run through that rhythm section, and he will move around Cloud for 4th.
Tomac out front, 5.5 second lead over Freezy, the lead rider in this group.
Roxon right there, Freezy, Wilson, Moss, Webster sitting in 8th right now. As you see the points as they race. Who's going to get into that super final? Oldenburg out of it. Kristen, what can you tell us about Luke Cloud?
The pit board said calm down, and guys, that's something to be aware of for Luke Clout, a rider predominantly based in Australia, racing on the world's biggest stage with Eli Tomac and Ken Roxon. That can be rattling, so his mechanic just telling him to calm down.
Well, Freezy trying to stay calm as he gets hunted by Roxon here. Tough to rattle Vince Freezy. That's a guy who keeps himself pretty calm. He's always up and ready for a good fight.
Yeah, and Freezy's always aware of where the rider is trying to make a move. He's got these subtle little line choices that he takes. Oh, this time Roxon just drives up the inside there and takes that spot from Freezy.
Freezy racing from the Moto Concepts Racing team. Right behind Roxon now.
Those inside lines are really getting deep. Now watch right here. They go past the finish line jump. Most of the riders choosing the inside line. Look how deep this rut is right here.
Everybody going through there.
Oh, the whoops are so slippery. There's all these edges on the front-facing side of the whoop, and you can just see the bikes are just side to side. Even if they try to jump and hop through the whoops, the bike's still getting kicked around quite a bit.
Savatgy showing good speed. He's a second in front of Roxon right now.
And I think Tomac's is out front. He's got a 6.8 second, 6.6 second lead right now. Tomac's just on cruise control once again.
It's really interesting because Tomac looked out of whack, if you will, in race number 1 for the majority of that race. He got the win, but as we watch Aranda on the 20 here, fighting with Moss, and he gets around him. Well, Tomac finally found that rhythm about halfway through that first race, and he's been unstoppable since.
Yeah, Moss has got his hands full right now because he didn't have a lot of points to give. He was right there around the bubble line, needed to be top 8 to make the super final. And he's got Dean Wilson breathing down his neck also.
Taking a look at the points as we run. Tomac, Savatgy, Roxon, Clout in the top 4. They're all in. Wilson, Oldenburg, Nichols, and Matt Moss is on the bubble. Jeff, if
right
he can
there.
hang on, he just might make it, but Aranda trying to get around him.
Yeah, and Aranda made that pass on Moss, but Aranda needs 2 points. Oh! Roxon pretty aggressive on that inside. Savatgy did not let off. Savatgy, great ride. I mean, he has just been fighting hard. Won Super Pole earlier tonight, or earlier, yeah, today.
Yeah. Roxon on this final lap, can he pull something out to get around Savatgy?
Look at those championship points. Nichols has made his way up into 7th. Moss right on the bubble.
Coming to the finish line. Who's going to get to the super final? Roxon really stalking Savatgy, trying to get to the inside of this corner. He's got him. Savatgy can't hang on. Final corners coming up into this next rhythm lane. Roxon is out front. Savatgy making a run at him. Tomac comes to the checkers. He'll light the candles with the win. And how about Roxon and Savatgy? Roxon beats Savatgy to the line to take second. And again, 9 race wins out of 9 races for Eli Tomac.
Cloud coming by in 4th, Aranda 5th, Wilson 6th.
There's the results. Tomac, Roczen, Savachi, Cloud, and Aranda rounding out the top 5. Good run for Dean Wilson. A solid run for Matt Moss. Much better than he was performing earlier. So he and Craig Dack getting that program headed in the right direction. And we'll see who is going to Super Final.
Yeah, so we round out our Race 3 results here. Tabulate all the scores from Super Pole and 3 races.
And look at Matt Moss, the 9-time champ, gets it done by 1 point over Greg Aranda. He's going to the Super Final with Nichols, Oldenburg, Wilson, Clout, Roczen, Savachi, and the guy who's standing by with Kristen.
Eli, how do you attack the Super Final coming up next?
Well, it's just all about figuring out the lines. The track is breaking down a lot now, so some things are changing there. Traction's getting harder and harder to control, so that's what I was trying to do that time to stay mistake-free.
Thanks so much, Eli. Moving back to Ken Roczen, our defending champion in the WSX series. Ken, what are you learning out there?
I need better starts. I cannot get off the gate at all. I've been buried every single main, so that makes it super tough. I feel like I'm riding well, but it's just not enough to be at the very front, so it needs to improve.
And Ken, vision at a premium, I'm noticing you only have 2 tear-offs left. Is that making a difference for you, having to pull off so many tear-offs throughout the GP race?
I only have a 7 stack on with these shorter races, so the vision is not my problem.
Thanks so much, Ken.
He's got to get that start figured out if he wants to have a shot at Tomac in the Super Final. No doubt about it. Taking a look at the highlights of race number 3. Tomac with the best start of the night for him. And he clearly comes out with the lead. And you can see how fast he was out front and pulling away from Freezy and the rest of the pack that gave chase. Savachi and Roczen would eventually get around Freezy. Freezy would drop all the way to 12th after having such a great run early on in this one. And nobody had anything for Eli here in race number 3 as he takes the win again. Beautiful night here in Perth in Western Australia, looking down on the historic HBF Park, over 100 years old. And how about Ken Roczen, the 2-time FIM World Supercross champion out of Germany? He is the reigning champ, and we had a chance to go inside with Ken Roczen leading into Perth.
He always said since I was a little kid that I want to be the best rider in the world.
Ken, you are a 2-time World Supercross champion. Does a world title have a different weight to it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think any title has some weight to it because every year you come back, you have something to defend. They always say getting your first one is the most difficult one, but then defending it becomes hard, right? And or harder, I should say. And then right now, like every year, we seem to get some new faces as well.
Now, there's a lot of riders that once they line up at the gate, everyone agrees that they're the one to beat. You being the main character in that, is there something that you recognize that separates yourself from the rest of the pack?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to be the one lining up with number 1, and it seems like everybody is going to be gunning for that number 1, right?
Potentially, you could secure a 3rd world championship. What do you think that would prove?
Yeah, going 3 in a row would be amazing. I've never, actually in my entire career, I've never gone even back-to-back championships, so we already crossed that off the list. And going for number 3 this year, and especially also with Eli being back in the picture, would be huge for me. It's another championship added to the roster, and hopefully we can just keep going and see how many we can get. But we have a big task in front of us.
What kind of rider do you want to be known for?
So I have honestly always said since I was a little kid that I want to be the best rider in the world. Now, I do know that I am in the later stages of my career, and maybe at one point I probably was the best rider in the world. You know, I had a really good season in 2016 and started off strong in 2017 until my injury, and that obviously gave me a big setback. But at 30 now, and there's a lot of racers that are actually even just a little bit older than me, I am coming towards the later stages of my career, and we have a lot of young guns that are fit, strong, healthy, taking a lot of risk and being super fast. So nonetheless, I wouldn't still be racing if I don't think that I could give them a run for their money, and that's always the goal.
Yeah.
Thank you to Laurent Nichols for that inside look at Ken Roczen, the two-time world champion.
The storyline or the narrative in the past few seasons has been your evolution as a human, as a person. In 2019, 2020, you seemed very guarded, and every season since, it seems like that guard is just kind of dropping. Do you attribute that to a change in your team, in your lifestyle, in your home life? What is that? What's changed for you?
Well, in 2020, I became a Supercross champion and I became a dad, so I think it's those two things combined, and you know, you get to this certain age and time and maturity, and things just change. So for me, I pointed to that.
Looking back to the Canadian GP, there was a line you took through the whoop section. I mean, just wheeling through the whole thing. And my interpretation of this, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you don't choose a video game line like that if you're not having fun. We're seeing that kind of reflected in your racing, right? And take me through that line selection, how you got to that point where you're like, I'm just gonna blitz these.
That's right. So in the last moto, I was able to carry a wheelie all the way through the whoops. And the first time it happened, it was actually an accident. Like, I just hooked up with traction and I carried my front end all the way through the whoop. And I was like, wow, that was actually fast, and it was pretty controlled, even though it started uncontrolled. So I did it for 5 or 6 laps, and that was a lot of fun.
So it was an accident.
Yeah.
You just went and rolled with it.
I did.
Was it faster? Did it feel faster?
It
or was it just
faster
fun?
because I was just going with traction, and the bike was in control, and the wheelie through the whoops was the move for the first few laps of that last moto.
You're not a super aggressive rider, though. You've never been one of those guys right away.
No, I usually don't take the first shot.
Yeah. But we'll
I'll pay
take
it
the
back
second.
if I need to, but I'm usually not the one to create the chaos.
On a track that requires you to be aggressive, will you be able to step up to that point and assume that role?
I better be. I'm gonna have to.
Well, Eli, thank you so much for talking with us, and good luck this weekend.
Hey, thanks.
Well, another wondrous location here in Perth. That was Matilda Bay, where Kristen and Eli sat down to chat. What a season he is having. Will he be a world champion after the racing at the next stop in Abu Dhabi? Well, Shane McElrath is leading the points here tonight in the SX2 category. Cody Schock, Enzo Lopes, Cole Thompson, Cullen Park, Maxime Desprez, Kyle Chisholm, and Caden Minier all going on to super final out of SX2. And we're going down trackside to hear more from Kristen.
Maxime Desprez, 6th overall, entering the super final. You just told me a busy track out there and a busy day.
Yeah, for sure. We had 3 races. I had some good start. I did a small mistake in second moto, but yeah, 5, 8, and 5, so it's pretty good. It's better than Vancouver. So now we have the main event with the 450, and yeah, we try to have a good start. And yeah, the track is really difficult for French rider because we don't have this kind of track in France. But anyway, it's a good day. So again, one moto.
You're leading the points in the French Supercross Championship. How much does that help your confidence here?
Yeah, I won last year the championship. I'm leading this year, and yeah, it's completely different. The track is more smaller and more harder. So yeah.
Thanks so much, Maxime.
Well, they say that when you're here in Western Australia and you're walking on the beach, it's like walking on a dream. But I got to tell you, this sand that we have here tonight for World Supercross, this is like riding on a dream. I mean, to me, it looks really fun. Yes, the riders have talked about it being really slippery. Traction's been hard to come by. But when you compare it to how some of the clay tracks are, and when it's super rocky like we had in Vancouver, this really is a dream track. And I'm telling you, you can see just how much soil is getting chewed up. Eli Tomac made that comment about that finding traction is really difficult. So the turns, they're sliding around. The tops of the berms are starting to push out. Also, those whoop sections are really chewed up. I mean, think about every one of those races that we watched tonight, how whether riders were trying to skim across the top or whether they were trying to wheel tap and jump through the whoops, the bikes were going side by side. So I tell you, I think that this sand has really been dreamlike to ride on. I think the whoops are going to be the hardest part, but of course in the super final, you've got to get the start. And I will say, I think this is the first pocket square ever to be on a supercross track. What do you guys think, Ralph?
Back here in Perth, getting ready for super final. Here's a look at the standings for the SX2 Championship here in Perth. McElrath in front of Schock. He's got Lopes tied right there with him in second. Thompson just behind them in fourth on that Firepower Honda.
Park, Despre, Chisholm, and Benier round out the top 8 here for super final.
Of course, it'll be those 8 going up against the top 8 point getters from the WSX category. And here's what those standings look like. Tomac, who has dominated the night in WSX, with a commanding lead over Savacci, but Savacci's got Roxon just 1 marker behind him, and the Australian Clout and Dean Wilson.
Oldenburg, Nichols, and Moss makes the final spot here into the super final. But what strikes me, Ralph, is whether it was the SX2 or WSX, that battle for second in points in both of our divisions is really tight.
Jeff, we've got half the gate loaded up already as we take another look at the CBD area of Perth, Central Business District, Swan River. Do you see an advantage to one spot on the gate or another here?
I feel like the inside is definitely the place to be, and you look like the number 2 of Cole Thompson, who's been really strong up the starts. He's far left, riders left, the inside of the gate. It's a left-hand first turn. That'd be the place to be. And earlier in the night, we got that comment from Eli Tomac, I think it was after race 1, where he says he pushed way too wide, but now everybody's going to be fired up. Everybody's going to go wide in that first turn, so I want to be on the inside and sneak by.
Okay, here's a look at your starting lineup. Thompson and Chisholm, McElrath, Lopes, Park, Caden Manier, Cody Schock, Maxime Despre, Ken Roxon, Eli Tomac, and Dean Wilson. Joined by Joey Savacci, Luke Clout, Colton Nichols, Mitchell Oldenburg, and Matt Moss. There's a look at the gate. There's McElrath on the 12th, Wilson on that 15, Despre on the 141, Chisholm on the 11, with Freezy just to his right. All locked into the gate, ready for the gate drop. Here we go, super final. Tomac, first one to Chaos Corner, another rocket start for Tomac on that CDR Yamaha supported by Star Racing. And Roxon's in second and closing.
Finally, Roxon got the start that he has needed all night long. He gets the whole shot, but he's in a great position to challenge Tomac for the win in this super final.
And Wilson, Dean Wilson, with a tremendous start as well on the 15. He's right there. He sits in third. The rest of the pack charging after him as they go over the big jumps.
Cody Schock, first 250 rider from the MX2 division. He sets in 5th, so a great start for the Rick Ware Racing rider of Cody Schock.
Clout just in front of him. You can see Roxon fighting to stay with Eli Tomac and manage that pace.
Fighting to stay on the track right there. Had some leg swag going as he was going to jump a little wide. But now this is going to be interesting because Tomac, these last couple of races, he really hasn't gotten challenged. And now Roxon is right there. And you got to think it's been a frustrating night for the reigning champion. Now he's in the position. Let's see what he can do with it. Try to make that move on Tomac, who's dominated.
Roxon picking his line through there. Tomac trying to pull away. gains a couple of tenths on that lap as the lead grows to just over a second.
Whoa, Roxon getting a little wild. That's what I was talking about in the whoop section. Even though they're jumping through it, it seems like the bike's moving around a lot. Now, Ralph, remember, the JetWorks crew was out there cleaning up the track in spots. So some spots are going to be fresh, and other spots are just going to be wrecked, as these rear tires just have chewed this sand up just really dramatically.
Boy, 3rd through 5th is great here with Wilson, Cloud, Schock, and Savachi, and McElrath behind them on the number 12. There's Wilson. Cloud's on the 19 right there. You see Schock of the 69. He's fighting with Savachi.
Wilson going wide before that triple jump, trying to find a cushion out there, something to bank off of and turn that Honda.
Roxon has picked up another 10th back after Tomac, so he's closed the gap up by a 10th or 2.
Now remember, last couple races, everyone in that finish line turn, they were inside line. There was an inside rut. It hasn't really developed yet. Tomac and Roxon outside after the finish line.
Roxon seems to be maintaining the pace with Tomac, Jeff, and you know Eli is throwing everything at it. Ken's hanging with him. One mistake by Tomac, Roxon will be there to pounce.
Yeah, Tomac trying to be perfect on the night. Oh, look at Savachi working on Cloud. Whoa.
Tomac will not maximize the points here tonight because he did not win the Super Pole and take the 5 out of there. See the yellow flag.
Yellow flag, that was Roxon. There he is.
He's lost contact with Tomac and slipped back into the clutches of Dean Wilson.
Well, you got to wonder if Roxon was just pushing the Suzuki as hard and as far as it would go.
Wilson right there is 3rd. Wilson on that firepower Honda teamed up with Joey Savachi. Savachi back in 5th. And Roxon now starts to break away from Wilson. Dean had a shot at him, but Ken has found his rhythm again.
Yeah, look at that. After Roxon went down, 6 seconds back now on Tomac. 4 laps completed of this 12. I mean,
you just can't do that when you're racing like Tomac.
No, not on a night like Tomac's had. I mean, I don't want to play the spoiler, but I don't intend on him making any big mistakes through the end of the night here.
Well, you don't intend on it, but Jeff, with this sand, we've seen numerous riders throughout the course of the night who look like they're in a solid state, but all of a sudden the sand gives way and down they go.
Well, and if you're Eli Tomac, you have to keep your focus. You can't,
get too comfortable,
make a mistake. Plus, probably going to get into a few lap riders somewhere along the line, maybe around lap 8 or 9, 10.
Here's Savachi. Savachi is closing on the 19 of Cloud, trying to get inside of him, coming into this corner. Just can't get there. High up on that berm. They're still pushing that limit there, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. Look how wide Savachi was going for that triple jump. I mean, that was 20 feet out there just to find a little bit of traction, a little bit of cushion. A couple new lines developing there in that right-hander.
McElrath, the SX2 former champion, sitting in 5th. Halfway home through this one. Oh boy, Schock trying to hang on.
He did. He saved it.
Boy.
McElrath, Schock, Lopes, Thompson.
Cody will put your heart in your throat, won't he?
Oh, yeah. He's been trying hard. I mean,
he's given it everything he's got.
He certainly has. And winning race 1 earlier tonight was a big confidence booster for him. And this is one of those tracks we heard multiple riders talk about where you're trying to push it. This is super final, trying to lay it all on the line here tonight. And these riders are definitely finding what the limits are on the bike and the traction the tires can give out.
Schock getting pushed here by Lopes on the 16, and there's McElrath pushing Cloud.
It's
good battles throughout the field here in this second round of the FIM World Supercross Championship for 2024. And you got 250 and 450 racing here, Jeff, and do you give an edge to the 450 because of the power, or is this the kind of night because of the sand where the 250 might come through?
Well, I mean, the 250 and 450 aren't really that far apart, but certainly, you know, there's no replacement for displacement, right? And you just wonder if the 450 allows you to sort of lug the engine a little bit, get a little more traction. Do you have to wind the 250 up and really get it up in the RPMs, which creates wheel spin? I mean, it's hard to say. It looks like McElrath is making it look easy out there right now, but you can see that off the start, the 450 certainly delivered the horsepower that it took to put the most amount of riders. I think we had our top 4 or 5 off the start, all 450 riders.
This one winding down. Cloud doing a great job of fending off McElrath. It's been a good race so far, Kristen, as McElrath pulls up alongside of Cloud.
It has, Ralph, and this is where the rider conditioning comes into play and the new format. Previously, we'd gone 8, 8, 12, 12. Now, tonight we're 8, 8, 8, and 12, but imagine keeping the longest race till the very end. So you run all 3 8-lap races, and then boom, right when you're good and tired, you hit a 12-lap GP race. Guys, this is when the conditioning comes into play.
I love that about this format here, Jeff, putting that longest race last.
Yeah, and when I was walking back from the track from that feature I did, I walked up the tunnel where the riders were coming into staging. I got to tell you, they all look pretty beat down, and they just had to race 3 8-lap main events, lay it all in line back to back to back. And I don't blame them. That's a tough way to do it because there's just not a lot of time between the races for your body to recover.
And there's no time to recover, Jeff, because we're right back here at HBF Park again tomorrow for a full round number 3 of FIM World Supercross.
Yeah, and we're going to start a little bit earlier on Sunday than what we did today. Everyone's going to have to be out here maybe 3 or 4 hours earlier than what they had to now, and then they'll come back. Jump Works will rebuild the track, freshen it all back up, and the riders have to go right back out again and do the same format.
But instead of racing in the cool temperatures of the night, it's going to be a little harder in the late afternoon. Yeah,
and it's supposed to be really hot tomorrow.
Yes, that'll be a big part of the story for sure. You're not going to want to miss it. Tune in to catch all the action live. Wilson, Dean's been having a really good run here, Jeff, sitting in 3rd throughout this entire race with 2 laps to go. If he can keep his teammate Savacci behind him. And they've had some coming togethers and some good battles.
Oh yeah, I mean, talking about those temperatures, the high was about 85 today. Going to be 95, which is basically 35 in Celsius. So tomorrow is going to be cooking. And remember, the track is going to dry out a lot more because it's hot.
Savacci was right up alongside. You see the rear wheel pick up on Wilson under the brakes. Savacci trying to work the outside, cuts back inside on Tino. Who's going to get to the corner first?
Let's see which line works.
Split line. Wilson goes wide. Oh, they almost come together again as we go now to the final lap here, the super final at the Australian Grand Prix.
Teammates going at it. Wilson trying to hang on to this 3rd, trying to make the podium here in the super final. Savacci, who was your super pole winner, he was super fast all day long. He's got about half a lap to go to try to get that 3rd spot.
Does Wilson have the speed and the endurance to keep Savacci behind him for another half a lap?
Savacci's working hard.
He's pushing. You saw that bright yellow boot come off the peg for a second. Meanwhile, Eli Tomac has won everything so far but Super Pole, and he wins the Super Final as well here at the Australian Grand Prix. Ken Roxon comes across the line for 2nd. Will it be Wilson or Savacci? Here's Dean Wilson on the 15, Savacci on the 17, racing to the finish line jump. Final corner, Wilson will get there first in front of Savacci to take 3rd away from his teammate.
They're high-fiving. Wilson did exactly what he had to do in that final turn. Guard that inside. He knew that's where Savacci was going to try to make the pass, and he just blocked him out.
Bragging rights when you get back to the pit box, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
So there's the results. Wilson holds off Savacci in a great fight for 3rd. Clout hangs on for 5th. McElrath is 6th. And it's Tomac Roxon at the top of the board. And unfortunately, Maxime Desprez, who had a pretty good run early on, ends up all the way back in 16th. And how about the points here? It's going to be Eli Tomac winning the WSX category of the Australian Grand Prix over Ken Roczen and Joey Savacci, Luke Clout, and Dean Wilson. His third overall win in 3 tries of WSX competition for Eli Tomac. And we go to Kristen to hear from the winner.
Eli, the stadium was electric as you took that win. How would you describe the energy here tonight at HBF Park?
Well, it was just overall just a great night of racing here. Was able to get my starts out in all night and just have a lot of fun out there. So there's some really cool sections on this track. The finish line is huge. That was so fun to hit all night. So yeah, can't wait to do it again tomorrow.
The battles that we've seen between you and Ken Roczen and even Joey Savacci throughout this season so far, I mean, when you're able to take a lead like that and have a gap lead on the rest of the field, what does that say about your riding and what you've been able to do in the last couple of weeks?
Well, right now everything's just working. So I'm just trying to put everything together, stay mistake-free as I can, and always trying to keep getting better, never be complacent.
And guys, that was a big, critical part of the racing here tonight, being mistake-free. Another rider with clean, consistent laps. I'm going to hop in here with Shane McElrath taking the SX2 overall tonight. Shane, it's no secret, the last year's been turbulent. Does it feel good to be on top now at this point?
Feels good to be working hard. That's I'm doing my job, and that's what I'm really having a good time. Yariv, Martine, this Firepower, very sweet. Honda, Quad Lock, X brand. This has been a blast. Today was a very hard race day, like a lot of racing. The track was long, the track was beat up and always changing, and those 450s, man, it was tough to go a lot faster than them, and some of the lines just didn't really shape up, and I was having to play defense a little bit, but the bike felt awesome. Praise the Lord. This is good. I'm excited for tomorrow.
Shane, how much did physical conditioning play into your success here tonight? Because that was some wild laps.
Yeah, honestly, tonight was a marathon, like I said earlier, and Enzo and Cody, dude, these guys are ripping, and it's a lot of fun battling. They're keeping me honest, they're holding me accountable, and that's what I appreciate, so I'm excited.
Thanks so much, Shane.
5th overall for Shane McElrath and his 2nd straight victory in 2024. Take a look at these highlights here, Jeff. Tomac got the rocket start. Roczen got the best start he's had all night and was right there with Eli as it came out of Chaos Corner.
Yeah, and he makes a mistake and ends up going down here just after this shot. Cost him, he stayed into 2nd, but Dean Wilson had an amazing ride going. So did Luke Clout. Savacci making his way past Clout, or trying to at this point. They had a great battle going. And this super final really, it was wheel to wheel, bike to bike through most of this race. And Savacci trying to get to the inside of Wilson just couldn't quite make it happen.
Oh, you can see them come together, banging shoulders there, banging bars. Tomac, no challenge to the win.
to the podium presentation for round 2 of the World Supercross Championship. Presenting the trophies tonight is FIM rep and CEO of Motorcycle Australia, Peter Doyle. And the winner of the Teams Round Cup is Firepower Honda. Congratulations, Firepower Honda. And now for the SX2 presentation. In 3rd place, Cody Schock, Rick Ware Racing. In 2nd place, Enzo Lopes from Rick Ware Racing. And in 1st place, Shane McElrath from Firepower Honda.
Congratulations to our podium finishers, Shane McElrath, Enzo Lopes, and Cody Schock. There's a look at the SX2 Championship standings. McElrath 30 up on Lopes. Schock just in front of Cole Thompson as this championship moves back here again tomorrow to do it all over again. We said at the beginning of the show, Jeff, that Perth is really going to be a deciding factor in this championship, with it being a doubleheader.
Yeah, being a 4-round championship, 2 of them are here this weekend, so half the points, but pretty close there with Lopes, Schock, and Thompson. I mean, obviously, McElrath deserves to have the lead that he has. He's performed pretty amazing in these first 2 rounds and shown that he is the guy to beat.
In 2nd place, Ken Roxon, Pipes Motorsports Group. And in 1st place, Eli Tomac, CDR Yamaha, supported by Star Racing.
Tonight as the USA sweeps the top step of the podium in both categories. Congratulations to Eli Tomac, along with Ken Roxon and Joey Savacci in our WSX Championship.
Well, to the victor goes the spoils, right? Yeah.
Taking a look at the standings now. Tomac with a comfortable lead, Jeff, over Ken Roxon. But again, we race him again tomorrow on a very, very hot day is what we're hearing from the weatherman. It's going to be a challenge for everybody.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough. But doing, you know, by the time you get to super final, that's going to be your 4th race. And if you do super pole to start the night, I mean, that's a lot of effort, a lot of work, a lot of laps on the track. You know, Tomac has been so dominant. It's really only super pole and 1 GP race that he hasn't won. Other than that, this season so far, he's been